This will probably be my most hated video. I don't like Hollow Knight. I tried to like the game, I really did, but something just didn't click with me, and I wanted to know what. And as I played through my second run of the game, I had my sister, who already 112% the game, help me in case I got lost. But even though I didn't enjoy my time with Hollow Knight, I still have a massive appreciation for the passion behind this project. Welcome, Web of Wires. I love platformers and difficult games. To be specific, games with reliable controls and brutally difficult gameplay. So when I was met with Hollow Knight, a game with a lot of similarities to Dark Souls in the form of a platformer, I was intrigued. I tried my absolute best to enjoy this game. I played through it twice, I looked at other reviews of the game, talked to my sister about why she loved it, but I was never able to fall in love with the game like I had hoped. So now, I can only hope you understand my point of view, and why Hollow Knight just wasn't too exciting for me. Hollow Knight is a simple to understand and hard to master game. Your core moves consist of jumping, hitting, and healing. As you explore the world of Hollow Nest, you'll unlock more abilities that expand how many moves you have at your disposal. Things like the dash make traversal easier, and the charms that let you customize the knight to your choosing. These little upgrades will unlock more areas of the map, letting you progress further. As you travel, you have to kill more enemies. The fighting in this game reminds me a lot of Bloodborne. It's a fast-paced combat system with a lot of dodging and aggressive melee combat, with occasional ranged attacks if you have the resources. The game is a lot more difficult and strategic than something like Dead Cells, but once you start mastering the controls, it becomes a lot less of how you can dodge, and more of how you can plan your next strike while having enough time to heal. It is a great system that rewards the player for learning how to use each button and visual cues to your advantage. At first, I played through the game using a keyboard. On the second playthrough, I tried a controller and beat it in 11 hours. Never play this game on a keyboard. All my issues with the controls were fixed when I played through it again with a controller. Specifically, boss fights and platforming were a lot easier. Speaking of boss fights, I absolutely love them. They test your skills in charm building to their limits. They make sure that when you progress, your reaction time and control of the knight are exactly where they should be. Most of the time you will receive some sort of secondary award, usually a charm or some cash. A lot of people were hyping this game up to be super difficult, but the only times I died to a boss were the last two necessary bosses at the end of the game. I won't show any of it because of spoilers, but I really think as long as you have a good reaction time and a basic understanding of how patterns work, then bosses won't be an issue. I always adored how this game looked. Even in my other videos, when I said I didn't like the game, I never overlooked the high standards they had for visual expertise. Hollow Knight is a gorgeous game with life springing out of the cracks as the infection takes over and turns what once were thriving bugs into husks of their lost humanity. There is not a single piece of this game that they were too lazy to finish. One of my favorite areas, City of Tears. Every piece tells you that this city has been dying for years. Guards are constantly guarding nothing but a lonely sanctuary filled with death and grief. A statue of what once was the prince stands tall in the middle of this forgotten area. It's such a powerful and unforgettable place that indirectly tells the player you are done with the tutorial. From here on out, there is no turning back. I think if Team Cherry didn't realize how important the audio is when telling a story, then the City of Tears would mean nothing to me. Luckily, they hired Christopher Larkin for doing the audio. This is some of the masterpiece stuff, right next to Ocarina of Time and Shadow of the Colossus. You can hear the rain slowly covering the world in sadness as your feet trip through the puddles, the voices singing in such a beautiful and magical way as the sad tune from the piano slowly takes over, drowning out all the hope that was once left in this world. Listening to the soundtrack brings me right back to each area in the game. All I can think about are the enemies and environments in my head as the soundtrack slowly takes me over. The more you explore Hollow Nest, the more invested you become in the world. This is a game you really need to play all at once. If not, you are going to get lost and forget where to go. You are going to have to learn and change in order to appreciate this game, and it will reward you for your effort. And if you don't have a huge passion for the game, then traversal won't be fun. You will constantly lose track of where you're going, and finding where you're supposed to go can be difficult as there are no indicators. I think it is best played with a friend, experienced or not. This could have been easily fixed with something like a charm similar to the Wayward Compass that instead of telling you where your player is at that exact moment, it tells you where points of interest would be. Or instead of a charm, maybe a person who sells hints or characters telling you to search a certain area because of something they saw or an item that could come in handy for you. I think that would reward the player for paying attention to the text as well as still keeping a fresh sense of discovery. I really enjoy finding new areas and progressing, but it just wasn't fun running from one side of the map to maybe access a new area, get the item after half an hour searching, walk all the way back. I love that the game gives you easier ways of traversing each area at a faster pace next time, but if you don't know where to go and you feel lost, it will turn a lot of new players away from the game. And I want you to know, I have played enough Metroidvanias to understand the genre. I have played all these games so far, and almost all of them I'm beaten. And what they all have in common is some way of indirectly or directly telling the player how to progress in ways I already said, so the player never feels lost. When I felt like I knew what to do, I had a great time. I felt like I was moving forward, but something me and probably many others felt was a lack of progression. Yes, I was getting somewhere, but not knowing how close to my destination I was or being able to visually see my progression just ruined the game for me. I felt like I was walking to walk, instead of walking to further develop the story of Hallow Nest. And what sucks is that the game does give you a strong feeling of progression later in the game, when you have to kill the Dreamers, but it wasn't consistent enough throughout my entire playthrough, which is what got me to put it down for the first time I played. I think something like the percentage able to be seen on the front of my profile would have been a great touch. This is why the game is best played with two people. Instead of having just one character running around, you have two, making your chances of getting lost a lot slimmer. And if you have someone experienced helping you, it can save lots of time just wandering around doing nothing. Hollow Knight is not for everybody, especially if you have nobody to play it with. The multiple paths can be intimidating to a single person. It is obvious that Team Cherry has a lot of passion for the game, and deserves all the recognition they got. So for the $15 value, do I see Hollow Knight as a good game to get? Well, my answer to that is mixed. If you enjoy beating games and moving to the next one right after, you'll probably be better with something else. But if you love looking into everything a game has to offer, and being fully immersed in a title for months on end, I think Team Cherry is giving you the best game on the market, especially for the price. I appreciate Hollow Knight and what it's done for the Metroidvania games coming forward. It has been able to give the player a substantial amount of world and content to explore for such a cheap price that it makes the competitors look like they're not even trying. And although I didn't enjoy most of my time with the game, it's really hard not to appreciate how much work went into every little bit of Hollow Knight and its potentially better sequel.